The following show contains spoilers for the White Tiger. Let's hope he stays away from Joe Exotic.
We could survive that. We could survive that. We could survive it.
Hello and welcome to... Hello.
Too soon, isn't it? He didn't fucking hell. He didn't shoot 5 of his tigers.
Yeah, he's not a nice person.
Oh my lordy.
Anyway, hello. Welcome to We Could Survive That, your survival guide to the movies. I'm Jack, and today I'm joined by a man who is here of his own free will. He can leave anytime he wants. It's Chris.
Can I? I mean, I signed that confession before I turned up, admitting to being the one to solo record this podcast. I did it on my own in the night in question, and I was the only one on the podcast vehicle at the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get sued, and I know you love being sued and legal action and stuff, so it's a good time for everyone.
It is. I do enjoy legal action being taken against me, and do you know what I like to do against legal action being taken against me? I like to give out bribes, which are used in this movie we're about to discuss. I approved of that.
I thought you would approve of it, Chris. It's the one time that a bribe has brought good things to bad people, isn't it?
Bribes always bring good things to bad people, and bribes bring good things to good people too. Basically, there's no downside to bribing somebody. You make them happy, and whatever you need to make you happy, you get as well. Everybody's a winner, and the world keeps spinning. Basically, life is a bribe, isn't it? You're doing things to make other people happy, to get favors back to make you happy. Everything's a bribe.
Everything is a bribe.
Everything's a bribe. You buy fuel, I give the person money for the fuel. Am I buying it? Or am I just bribing it? Or trading? What is life? What's the bigger picture? This white tiger, what does it symbolise?
I remember that Forrest Gump quote, life is like a bribe. You never know what you're going to get.
Is that an actual quote? I don't know. I've not seen Forrest Gump.
No, life is a box of chocolates, Chris. You never know what you're going to get.
Oh.
Probably the last coconut one if you're too slow getting to the box and everyone's eating all the good stuff. Actually, I like coconut ones. They're nice.
But do you know what you do is beforehand, you bribe them to leave you some. But you bribe them with the coconut one to leave you that caramel barrel one.
Ugh. I like the caramel barrel one, but I would not trade it for a coconut one.
Well, good job. You're not the one that I'm bribing then.
Good. I'd just eat the whole box, Chris. I'm going to be honest. I'd eat the whole lot.
I agree with you. Anyway, let's get back to this movie that shows the correct way to bribe your way through society and to bully and harass and cheat your way through to the top, because that's the only way you can achieve happiness.
And murder. Don't forget the murder, Chris. Plenty of murder.
It was a tiny bit of murder. I mean, there's 2 murders in this film, but one's a manslaughter and the other one is not a manslaughter. But, you know, there's only two murders.
The manslaughter thing could be tried in court, Chris, which I know you love going to court. So, the White Tiger, it is a 2021 Netflix film directed by Rami Bayram. It's an Indian film. It's on Netflix. I thought it looked pretty interesting, which is why we are doing it. And I persuaded Chris to watch it fully this time. Right? You watched the whole film and not just half a film and then had to bugger off on an errand.
No, I watched the whole movie. I made sure to start it nice and early today. I put the film on... What's the time now? I put the film on about 5 hours ago. And I watched it. More than that, it's about 6 hours ago. Possibly 7?
We don't need specifics.
About 6.5 hours ago, maybe, I put the film on and I watched it.
Plot, Chris. I won't ask you to... Shall I ask you to what's the plot? Because you're going to have to say character names.
This is... I don't know. I cannot give you... I can give you the main character's name, which is Balram. And it's Balram. I'm sorry, okay, I don't know the rest of the names. And he's living in a village. It's a very poor village. There isn't much... What's the word I'm looking for? Like, hope in their life. They've got sort of minimal work they can do. They're barely making enough money. They're surviving on a few rupees. And he decides, you know what, screw this. I'm going to get to the top. And he goes out to become a driver for a rich family that comes to the village. I think they're the landlords, if I'm not mistaken. And he works his way up through using his wit and cunning and his sinister streak as well. That's the description of the movie. To work his way up to earn more money being a driver for a rich family.
Yeah,
And
you say landlords, I say Indian mob. And
that's what I thought it was when they turned up, and I thought these and they turned up, they're taking money from all the villagers and that lot. I thought this is some sort of like mafia mob corruption type thing, and it is, because this rich families they've made their fortune from mining coal, but they don't pay any taxes in the coal. Instead, they bribe quite successfully government officials, which I'm guessing it works out cheaper for them than actually paying taxes. I don't know. But
Still a hassle.
What's the point of bribing somebody not to pay taxes if the bribe is going to be more expensive? Just pay the taxes. So it must work out the bribes are cheaper than the taxes.
Yeah, but how much cheaper though? How much
Like
bribing?
50 rupees.
It can't be a lot. Yeah, Balram, he is our protagonist. He's in a big family. He's got an evil gran who basically sucks up all the family's money. And then, there's the Indian mob coming round and taking the rest of the spare change from the families in the village. So, he decides to endear himself to Ashok, who is the youngest son of the Indian mob guy. Ashok's fairly pleasant. He went to America and married Pinky. They've come back for 6 months just to catch up with the family. Balram, he does some underhanded things to make himself the number one driver in the family. And bad things happen when Pinky gets drunk, runs over a small child, and the family go, Balram, you have to sign this confession. And it escalates from there, doesn't it? Did you like the film, Chris? Is my first question.
I enjoyed it more than what I thought I would enjoy it. It was pretty good, actually. I liked it all the way through start to finish. But I think I liked it for a one-time view. And I can't see myself watching this film ever again. That's maybe
fine.
In about 15 years.
You only need to watch a film once.
Yeah, but there's some films when it finishes and you're like, cool, that was a cracking movie. And then 2 weeks later, you're watching it again, which is, I had that similar experience with the 2017 It, for example. I watched it, and then a few weeks later, I was watching it all over again because I love that film so much. Whereas this film, I enjoyed it, but I'm not going to watch it again.
No, this isn't meant to be a fun. It's not like an action film where you can go back and watch the action again and again, or a horror where you can watch the scares again and again. Although why you'd want to watch a horror film multiple times, I don't know. But no, this is a solid drama, black comedy with excellent performances and excellent directing. Very solid film as far as I'm concerned. And I too liked it very much.
Okay, and that's all we've got time for this week.
Yeah, I mean, I there are a few things I could nitpick, but they're like fun nitpicks. The whole thing is the film is framed from the point of view of Balram after he's become this grandioso mid-level taxi driver, kind of business guy, and he's emailing his whole life story, including the crimes and murders he was part of, to a Chinese ambassador. And when it gets to the point where he tries to meet the Chinese ambassador, the guy's got no interest in talking to him at all. Just gives him a cold shoulder and walks off. Of Balram's like, oh well, I gave it a shot. The Chinese ambassador's wants to talk to a mid-sized taxi company. That's not why he's in India. He's not trying to make trade deals with you. But there's some fun moments. But yeah, Balram should not be writing all his crimes in an email, should he? Well,
I mean, it doesn't matter. He's not worried about getting caught. And if he does get caught, fucking you bribe everybody, don't you? So what difference does it make? He before he starts up this taxi company and he works his way through this rich family, and at the end of it he acquires 4 million rupees. And then by the time he's got his taxi company up and running, he says he's worth 4 times as much as that. So I'm pretty sure he's got enough to bribe off any officials anyway. But yeah, I like the fact he meets the Chinese ambassador, who he's assuming this guy's read his email, by the way, he sent him. He's probably not even read his email. And he's like, this is my chance to expand. Gets shot down. He's like, oh, well, on to the next scheme. And, he describes himself, and he is an entrepreneur. So, yeah, I'm guessing he's like, well, that door's closed. I just got to look for another open door. Go back. He's not in any shortage of money at the moment, so things are still looking up for him.
I mean, he's running a fairly successful business. I mean, bribes aside, he's doing well. He must be, surely, because he employs like 30 people, so that's not bad.
His underhanded tactics have helped him see him through the way. Even at the end of the film, when one of his drivers hits and kills a kid, he pays the family off. He bribes the police officials not to arrest the driver and everything. All the way through, his underhand tactics work. I mean, was you rooting for this guy? Because at the beginning, he starts off and you feel sorry for him. He's come from this really poor village. He's getting treated like crap, and he's trying really hard to work his way up. And then the underhand tactics start coming in. And that's when I was like, I approve of this guy.
Well, yeah, he's a very likable guy, but the tactics, the underhandedness, I'm sure you can become a mid-sized taxi company without having to resort to bribery and murder and theft. But yeah, he's a likable guy. He has this through line, or this philosophy where he's like, people are chickens in coops, and you got to break out and stuff like that. But do you get the sense that he's broken out, or that he's just now keeping other people in a smaller coop whilst he's in a different coop? Because the last shot is him walking away from all of his employees. And like, how bad can he get? Will he get worse? Will his employees turn on him and beat him to death?
Well, to be honest, that's exactly what I was thinking. He's called all his employees out and he's telling them like, oh, you're having this nightmare, and you wake up, and you realise you did kill your master, and you've taken and you've broken out the coop. Then he walks off and they're all standing there and like, oh my God, they're going to murder him. These 30 employees he got are going to turn on him and kill him, and they're going to just share out his money amongst themselves.
Yeah, and that's a great story, boss. Let's do that.
Basically, the chicken coop story is the Sith philosophy from Star Wars, and that the apprentice will rise up and kill the master.
That's how you inherit a taxi company.
He didn't inherit a taxi company. He started it.
It's how these guys will inherit it.
Oh, it's how they're going to inherit it. Yeah. No, well, I mean, they'll have to dissolve it and start up their own companies, and then there'll be like 30 new taxi companies that will start up, and then they'll rise up and kill each other, and then it'll just go on and on and on. And then Netflix will be producing The White Tiger 20, and then that's eventually when the cycle will break. But we've got another 19 films before we get there.
This film was based on a book. I don't think there will be a sequel, unless there's a sequel for the book. But not everything has to have a sequel, Chris, even if it is Taxi Wars in India. Would you watch that film? Would you watch Taxi Wars?
I'd watch a film called Taxi Wars in India, The Downfall of the White Tiger.
Maybe. Yeah. He's a sympathetic enough character, and he does go through some shit. Some of the people he screws over, it's like, questionable. There's a lot to chew on. I did like it. It raises questions, Chris. And obviously you liked bribes, so...
Is it raising questions, or is it just telling you need to crush everybody who's weak in your way and bribe everybody that's more powerful than you to get to the top? Crush the weak, bribe the rich.
Potentially. I mean, it worked out well for now.
I mean, it worked out great for him. He can't be identified for this murder. He's got his own company. He's rich. He's loving life. He's got a nephew who he knows is okay, albeit the rest of his family has most likely been horribly butchered. But he doesn't know their fate, so he's not going to worry about it too much.
Evil Gran.
Was she evil, though? She just wanted money for the family to keep it going. She's trying to look after a large family. She has had a rough life.
I think she was just like a spider trying to consolidate and keep everyone under her thumb, controlling her own little hen coop, as it were.
Oh my god, so she also had her chicken coop thing, or a hen coop or whatever, and she was keeping them all locked up.
Yeah, the
Broke
moral
out
of
of
the
herds and broke into the rich and had to break out on that one as well.
moral of the story is the world is just hen coops in hen coops, Chris.
I got you. So he do you think he's still in another one at the end of the story, even though he's now
Yeah.
successful and he thinks he's broken out? He thinks he has, though, because he looks at you in the camera, he breaks a full fall like, yeah, I've broken out. But has he broken out? Is he not just inside a bigger one now, but he's with turkeys now, not chickens?
What's after turkeys? Ostriches or emus? Just larger and larger birds. You get to the prehistoric terror birds that
Oh my
used to
God.
eat small horses. Jesus. Wow.
And
No.
then when he breaks out of that one, then he is free.
There, yes, once he's broken out of the cage full of man-eating birds, it's truly free. Yes. I don't really have a lot to say about the film apart from I liked it. So, what an interesting set of thoughts.
I liked it. Okay, well, that sounds good. Well, so he goes from his poor village, doesn't he? He convinces his grandmother to give him 300 rupees for driving lessons in Delhi, and
Yeah.
on the condition that he's got to send back the majority of his pay slip every month, paycheck, whatever, back to his family.
Yeah.
So he goes off, he
300
doesn't-
rupees, Chris, just FYI. 300 rupees. How much do you think that's in cold hard British sterling?
It wasn't 200 rupees. I thought it was 200 rupees he got to keep.
How much he borrowed off of his nan for driving
Oh,
lessons?
oh, yeah. I'm. Do you know what? I have no idea. Is it less than 10 quid?
It is. It's £3.
Yeah, holy crap. So what, 100
But he
rupees
got-
equates to a quid?
About that, yeah. But he got a good driving instructor, didn't he? First lesson, it's not the steering wheel or the accelerator or the clutch or anything like that. It's you stick your middle finger up, the horn is in the middle, you push that and you throw as much expletives out at them as you can. A lot of sister fuckers going on. Is that like motherfucker?
Well, I was thinking about this when I was watching the film, because that seems to be their go-to types of swearing in India and stuff,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that could just be a huge stereotype, in which case I apologize, but I don't know, whenever you see any Indian-related things and they're swearing, it's always sister fucker. They start saying how they fucked each other's families all the way back to their ancient ancestors.
Well, when you see a Brit in a film, it's usually wanker, isn't it? That's usually their go-to curse.
Exactly. Yeah.
To be fair, it is quite fun to say and call someone a wanker.
Wanker. Whereas, I mean, in this film, I don't know how many times, at least more than 10 times, sister fucker comes up in this movie. Even Boram's masters, as referred to in the film, they're calling him sister fucker and stuff like that.
It's fun to find out other countries and cultures' preferred
Did you find-
expletives.
Did you find this film as a bit of an eye-opener to what some of the culture can be like then in India?
I mean, yeah, I've never been to India and I've not watched many Bollywood films. Do you think this film would have been more interesting or fun if they'd broken out into song and dance?
No, I would have turned it off.
So no
I am-
musicals.
I like some musicals. I'm not a fan of Bollywood musicals at all. So
Ah.
if it had broken out into a musical, I would have really struggled to have watched the rest of it.
What if it was really catchy, though?
It's no, the game is really catchy. What did you think of its run time? It had a 2-hour 5-minute run time before it hit the credits. For me, it felt a little bit too long, because there were times when I was pausing the film to do whatever, and I was looking, thinking, "Holy crap! I still got like 50 minutes of this left. How is it not finished yet?"
Is that
I mean,
why
did
it took
find-
you 6.5 hours to watch the film?
It felt like it took 6.5 hours to watch a film. In reality, it did actually take longer than 2 and a bit hours, because there was pausing and I was getting up. I mean, at one point I got up to serve up soup and stuff, so then I went back to it. But I
You
don't know.
don't
it
get
felt
that
like the
kind
film-
of service in a cinema, do you? You're not allowed to stop the film and help yourself to soup. One, they don't serve soup at a cinema, because that would be weird. They'd serve a pizza, though. A full pizza or a hot dog and a burger. Nachos as well. The
Oh, you can get your
crunchiest.
crunchy ass nachos, can't you? When you're munching away in the film, distracting everybody, but you can't have your
Fuck it
silent
out.
soup. I
Yeah.
suppose with soup you would be slurping it, little slurpy soup, wouldn't you? Exactly like that. Or can you imagine as you're trying to watch this film in the cinema and then as you slurping your soup next to me, you'd slap out your hand.
I am so sorry. I don't usually go in for sound effects, but yeah, slurpy soup.
I don't know. I get why the film was on for so long. It fit the story nicely because they got everything in, and it was a nice flowing story. It wasn't too jarry or jumping or missing out huge parts of its life or anything like that. But I don't know. Just for me, it felt like, holy crap, is it still going on? It's not finished yet. It must be near the end. Oh my god, there's still 35 minutes left.
No, I thought it had a decent runtime. I don't think it slowed down. For me, at least, it didn't slow down. But it is, in a cinema, you've got your full focus on the film, and at home, on streaming services, sometimes it is... You're at home, you're surrounded by other things that you could be doing, like eating soup or cooking cake or doing work or whatever. So maybe that's it. I know I forgot to say this in the episode that we did, but I think watching The Vigil, I think that would have... I might have enjoyed that more if I was in a cinema and not at home on a Sunday morning when it was sunny watching it. It kind of broke the immersion. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting my issues onto you.
No, to be honest, I do prefer when I watch a movie at home, I like it to be when it's dark outside. It holds my attention better on the movie when it's dark outside, and it fits with, as you say, atmosphere and stuff works better.
Also, it means that you can't run outside and play football or, I don't know, terrorise the village.
Why the hell would you go outside and play football anyway?
I don't know, that was a terrible example. That's why I changed it to terrorise the village.
God, I can't think of anything more boring.
You could use a football to terrorise your neighbours.
No, I don't want to terrorise my neighbours. They terrorise me enough. That's why I don't go outside.
They ask you how you're doing. They ask you how are you. They talk about the weather. You hate that.
God, I hate it when they get all up in my face going, are you settling in okay? Do you need any help? And I'm like, get away.
Anyway, they're big fans. They love you on the podcast.
Hey there.
They'll be heartbroken to hear that you don't actually like them. Overall, sorry, I've ruined your neighbours, your relations with your neighbours, but no, overall, I think this film is definitely worth a watch. Would you agree?
It's definitely worth a watch. I'm going to recommend it to some people at my place of employment. I know one of them that would probably actually give it a go, and I don't think they're going to enjoy it, and I'm going to get stick for it next time I see them. I had a similar experience with The Greatest Showman. I really enjoyed that, and I recommended it to them, and I was harassed upon their viewing of it when they returned to work. That was not a pleasant experience.
Do you like recommending films to people that you know won't actually like them? Because you've done that to me before.
I know. Well, there's one guy I work with who I recommend him films that I thought were really good. I know he'll like, but I also, if I watch anything that's really shit, I'll recommend it to him as well.
Just like messing with people.
Yeah, I do pre-warn him though. Although this is the same person who, when I watched The Predator, and I told him it was one of the worst films I've ever seen and not to watch it, he then watched the film and then came back and then complained at me that I didn't warn him enough not to watch it because of how bad it was. So
the worst film ever is a pretty big warning.
I know, but apparently it wasn't enough, and he watched it and then he complained that he watched it and I should have warned him more not to watch the film.
Do you say that about a lot of films though? This is the worst film.
No. I think The Predator, there was one other film, I forget what it was now, where I've said, it's one of the worst I've ever seen. But no, The White Tiger, when I go into work, I'm going to say this was a half-decent film and is good for a single viewing. I would say it's more than a background movie, because we use that term at work a lot. We say, this is a background movie. I think you've said it as well, to be honest, that you stick on. But The White Tiger is not a background movie. It is a movie that deserves your attention for your first viewing of it. and which would normally probably only be your only viewing of it, unless you're a huge fan of Indian bribery cinema.
Oh, is that the genre of film?
That's a genre. It says crime, but you read between the lines and it is bribery. Indian bribery cinema.
Okay, good. So a watch from both of us now. Survival tips, Chris, for the mean streets of India. Now, what are our opinions on drunk driving? Is it don't do it?
Yeah, I mean, don't drink drive. And if you're a small child crossing the road, you look left and right. If there's a car coming, especially at speed, you don't cross out into the road.
Road safety is non-existent in this film.
Oh yeah, it looks very hectic and dangerous, and it's either so congested that nobody can move, or it's so crazy people swerving all over the place to avoid the cows in the middle of the road that it's fucking risky as hell you're going to get hit.
Yeah, roundabouts are being taken just willy-nilly. No one's in the right lane, but they're just cutting people up to...
Across, yeah. Everyone's honking like mad. But I mean, if it's late at night and you're crossing the road and there's the one car coming with its headlights, you just wait for it to go past, wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, it depends whether they saw it or not. But drink driving is bad, Chris. I'm glad we've got that all wrapped up. Now, Balram's one murder that we see, the murder that he's at least admitting to the Chinese ambassador via Hotmail. Let's break this down. So Ashok and his wife Pinky, they don't get along so much after Pinky kills a kid. Ashok's family tried to put the blame on Balram, so Pinky leaves India to go back to America, leaving Ashok in a pretty bad way, goes into drink and some drugs, but he pulls himself out of it with the kind of mindset that, bollocks to Pinky, I'm just going to stay here with my family and take up the family business of Indian mob stuff and bribing politicians to put in phone servers and stuff like that instead of running water and things. And Balram gets the idea that he can take Ashok's bribery money, go off and start a new life and a new business. So that's what he does. So he pulls over in the rain by a lay-by, gets Ashok out the car under the pretense that there's a flat tire or something and he needs his help to repair it. So let's break down the attack, Chris, in terms that you'll understand.
In terms I understand, he gets Ashok out of the car, who kneels down at the rear tyre to check the tyre to see what the problem is. And then he stands behind him with a broken bottle, stabs him, or hits him in the back of the head so he falls down, stabs him a few times in the back, rolls him over, and then slits his throat.
Oh, come on. I was going to break it down D&D style. I had this whole...
What the hell do you mean D&D style? What? Oh, yes, Balram, he rolled a nat 20 table to...
Well, look, he's got a sneak attack bonus because it's a sneak attack. His opponent's not armoured and unaware of his presence. It's also a critical hit. Because he's stunned for one round. He's got proficiency in broken bottle.
Shut up.
Balram gets multiple attacks. D&D.
Yeah. Yes, he's got the second attack feat, okay.
Yeah. You're a nerd, Chris, because you understood that.
Thank you, guys, because I play D&D.
Okay. Sneak attacks are always hard, Chris, and we very rarely survive them because the sneak attack bonus damage. But...
Yeah, of course. And also, in this thing of a sneak attack, it's not that you don't know the person was there. It's you know the person is there, but you don't expect it because, as far as you're concerned, they're your loyal manservant who, if they betray you in any way, shape or form, your family will go after the rest of their family and butcher them. So you have their utmost loyalty. So yeah, it's very hard to avoid it.
Also, at points during the film, Ashok just doesn't recognise Balram as a human at points. Sometimes he's kind to him, but at other times when it suits him, he's just in the background. Like Ashok's brother, the mongoose, real dickhead of the family. He treats Balram like rubbish, and then when he wants him to sign the confession, he treats him very nicely. He's like, oh, you're part of the family, Then once he signs the confession, the next scene he's in, it's back to, you're a dickhead. I don't want anything to do with you. He's not nice to him.
I believe the term is sister fucker.
Good. A wanker in these parts of Britain. A bit of a tit. Yeah, there's a little of that as well, that he doesn't see him as a threat or as a person, which is very surprising when, like a dog. That's probably what he sees Balram as, like a loyal pet.
Like a loyal pet, yes, but even the most loyalist dog can turn on its owner when it's hungry. And Balram is hungry for that 4 million rupees in that sweet-looking red bag.
Sweet bag? I'd kill him just for the bag. No, I wouldn't. It's...
Yeah. Oh my god, I knew it was inside you. You just take the bag. You tip the money out on the body, wouldn't you? And then drive off with the bag, laughing crazily into the night.
I'm going to sniff this bag. It's real faux leather. Love the smell.
Real faux. Isn't faux leather fake leather? It's real fake leather.
This is premium fake shit, man.
I suppose it would be, wouldn't it? Because in Hindu culture, that cows regarded as quite a sacred thing, so I suppose they wouldn't have real leather, would they?
Exactly, yeah, so it would be faux.
Oh, okay, look at that. Look how cultured we are.
So cultured.
I know, suave.
So Ashok, we're trying to survive a bottle attack.
I mean,
you just
the first
knock it out
to
the car.
Back of the head.
Neck, sort of back shoulder area.
Yeah, which makes him fall forward and then stuns him and gives Balram enough time to get on top of him and stab him like 3 or 4 times in the back. Which I don't know how deep these stab wounds went, because it didn't look particularly deep, but obviously it did penetrate to the point where it disabled him. But I'm not entirely sure, because I mean, if I've seen any other type of action film, they get people get stabbed all the time and they're fine. They just roll back off of it.
Well, it might be a shock thing that he's gone into after suddenly being attacked. The bottle is quite jagged as well. There's multiple points of impact, probably, from all the round, jaggedy areas as well. Even if Ashok somehow had gotten out of this, the bottle was probably riddled with bacteria and stuff as well.
Okay, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, when I play video games, I can get shot a few times in the body before my character dies.
No,
and then a few
your
little
virtual character.
Well, this virtual, of course. Yeah, I mean, well, this wasn't real life either. This was a movie.
Shut up! They really killed a man with a bottle.
Oh my god! Yes.
No, I mean, well, I don't know what you'd think if you got stabbed in the back by a bottle, having never been stabbed.
In the back by a bottle.
Yeah, well, no, never been stabbed in the back. My enemies, they always stab me in the front, Chris. It's how we do it in the Indian mob. We stare each other in the eye before we glass our enemies.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's coming from behind. You don't expect it. There's a thunderstorm going on, or at least it's raining heavily, so you're not even going to hear the swish of the bottle through the air or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
here's what you do. You get stabbed in the back. You turn around and go, what the hell? Balram tries to stab you again. You disarm him, and then you drown him in the mud.
Okay, except that doesn't work, because after you've been stabbed in the back multiple times and you're laying on the floor, like, your internals are bleeding.
Yeah, I know.
Into yourself. There's a pool of blood foaming on your chest, and you're going to turn around and go, dude, what the hell? I'm gonna have to fuck you up now and drown you in this muddy water.
I mean, Balram didn't actually have to kill Ashok, did he?
No, he didn't. I thought this when I watched the movie. I was like, he didn't actually have to murder him. He could have knocked him out and rendered him unconscious, because, I mean, what is he thinking? Oh, if I knock him out, he'd be able to identify me. But that's not going to work, is it? Because you've murdered him. Everybody knows, or at least in his immediate family, and they'll be able to tell the police that yes, this is his servant.
It probably buys him a few hours, maybe a day or so, that he can get away. But yeah, it is kind of mean-spirited, because he was Well, I won't say he was nice. He was nice when it suited him.
Yeah, I know, but none of his other underhand tactics had gone this far, had they, at this moment, to where he actually murdered somebody.
He might have left a family to starve when they got their dad fired from their driving job. That's kind of underhanded. They might have starved to death.
Yeah, but they might have done. It's not for certain, is it? Don't blame it on the poor man. But
sorry, I'm assuming child death.
there you go. Jesus,
it's too dark for this podcast about death.
We only talk about fun death. We don't talk about the dark death.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, he could have left him tied up at the side of the road, knocked him out, I mean, rolled him off down the side of the road. Nobody might have found him for a while. And then he gets to a train. I mean, India's quite a big country, isn't it? So you get to a train station to get yourself lost, which is exactly what he does.
I think maybe if you'd had just left Ashok in the middle of nowhere on a road, I think he probably would have ended up dying anyway, because he doesn't seem like a particularly practical guy. He's grown up in wealth, both in India and in America, so this guy probably doesn't have what it takes to survive the mean streets of India. Like us, we would.
All you have to do is pull down your trousers and squat and start laughing with another man, and you're good to go. You're just shitting in the street.
I thought you'd like that.
I did like it, and slowly losing his mind, so just trousers down and squat.
That is the Chris way. Bribery and embrace the madness. So yeah, if you've got any thoughts on The White Tiger, you can email us, wecouldssurvivethat@gmail.com, or you can tweet us at wecouldssurvive. Next week, Chris, I think I've had it too good for too long, so we're going to watch a film that will make me sad and angry.
Ooh, what we're watching?
Are you familiar with the game franchise Resident Evil?
Oh, I am. Which Resident... Are you doing the first Resident Evil film?
Yeah, are you aware that they were also a film franchise?
I've seen them all, yeah. I'm aware. The first one's not actually that bad. If you want one that's going to make you cry, we should go straight to the second one.
I put the Resident Evil film franchise in the same box that I put the Matrix films in. That I've heard very little positive about them. They're a film series that I would not watch ordinarily and have not watched because I've not heard good things about them, and I don't like the aesthetic, and it's a horror, and video game movies aren't very good by a rule, apart from Detective Pikachu, which is the bee's knees. But yeah, so I punished myself by watching the Matrix films, so why not carry on and watch more film franchises that I have no interest in watching? So yeah, Resident Evil. We'll see how far into that franchise we can get before I go crazy. And then the week after that, maybe we'll watch something fun.
Okay, I can't see you getting past the second one, because even I hate the second one. It's fucking dreadful. But I don't mind the first one. I think deep down you're going to like it. Oh, the laser corridor scene. Yes. Well, look forward to that. Right.
I didn't mind the first Matrix film. It's just the second and third one that were crap. So
you might have a similar thing with you don't mind the first one of this, and you're going to hate the rest.
We'll see. We'll see next week. Chris, that's it. You can end the show with your usual flair and showmanship.
Why you got to big it up like that? I don't have any flair or showmanship. But
it's fun to do. It's fun to raise everyone's expectations and then for you to let them down like a limp dick or a limp biscuit.
I can't let them down because I'm going to bribe their expectations back up.
Like
I did that. So thank you to everybody who has been listening to We Could Survive That, your weekly survival guide to the bribery movies. We're going to see you next week for video game movie time. But until then, keep on surviving. And remember, keep on bribing. Goodbye.